Invasion angle.
How's it going today, guys? This is the Invasion Angle podcast. This is episode 66, and we have Zamir Zuriel here talking some wrestling. So, what's going on?
Bonsoir, y'all. I'm going pretty well. How are y'all doing today?
Good, good. Excited to have you on the show and yeah, get into some wrestling talk, the indies, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But yeah, I guess we could kind of start with where you're at kind of at the present, I guess. What kind of what's your next show coming up and or next couple shows you got booked and stuff like that and yeah.
You? Well, currently, my next show is called Ashe. It's spelled ASE. There's an accent over the E.
Yeah.
And it's based out of North Carolina. It's currently one of my favorite shows to perform on. It's culturally all black from and every single one of us are of different background. Like you have people who are from the UK, you have people like myself who are Haitian, who like speak French and Creole. You have people like Ashton Starr, my tag team partner, who is like this fashion icon of a wrestler from Darius Lockhart, the promoter, the owner. It's an incredible show. And also a show in Atlanta called NTW, Now That's Wrestling. It's a now this is a new show that got started around a few months ago on the network. Now That's TV.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I've seen that pop up recently, and I was pretty interested because currently I'm up here in Jersey, but I'm based out of Atlanta, so I hit that scene pretty heavy and stuff. And I'm like, anytime I see new stuff come up, I'm like, all right, that's pretty cool. And then I saw that there's another kind of, I guess they're like an indie TV, like a streaming company for like events, I guess, or
Yeah. So well, kind of. Now that's Wrestling is the first wrestling show that's on Now That's TV. Now That's
okay,
TV is its own network.
Yeah,
They wanted to create a fight field. They wanted to bring wrestling and introduce it onto this new platform that this main audience is, Atlanta based and like, worldwide based, but wrestling just hasn't been on there. And they wanted to incorporate boxing as well. So they merged the two shows again with all these different meshes of people who work out perfectly. And we're going against it's a lot of us newer up and comings against some of the heavy hitters who have been in the game for a minute. And it's a lot of these big names coming together and we're meeting together. We're learning great ways, and so am I.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm hoping I'm able to make it out to one of those because yeah, it seems pretty dope. And yeah, with Ashe, we actually me and Jason here went to the first episode. I mean, first show they ever had. So
Really?
yeah, yeah. We brought our buddy Nasty Leroy along with us, and we yeah we made the road trip up to Charlotte from the Atlanta area, and love. Are they still doing it at the same venue? Like it's just
No, not at that venue. The venue has changed, and I think the venue may have just changed again to a bigger spot. So I'm
okay.
pretty.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a good sign.
yeah, the first show was pretty packed for like a just an entry show in, into kind of the indie scene and like yeah the vibes the energy there was awesome and I know we were excited to get because like people you were mentioning like Darius Lockhart and then
Darius Carter too.
Darius Carter as well and
Yeah.
Ashton Starr is the man we've seen him throughout a lot of Georgia shows too so yeah, we've just haven't. I really want to get back up there, little road trip to see another one because yeah, I think yeah, more people that don't know about it. I mean, they're starting to learn about it, obviously, because you can just see it growing. Obviously, you can look at the social media numbers and kind of people talking about it and like just the talent they have there. It's just like there's no way it can't continue just to build. And yeah, I would say it's it's really its own thing. And there's nothing really like it, like GCW's event for the culture is maybe the closest thing that can kind of be in the same realm, but that's just a once a year show. So yeah, it's some awesome stuff. But
Thank
yeah,
you.
so we started kind of at the present, so I guess we'll take a few steps back to the origin story of you. And I don't mind, like, does double Z work too? Because I was watching some wrestling matches where they'll say that they'll call you double Z. Is
Oh,
that a
absolutely.
nickname or is that okay?
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. The crowd calls me ZZ, just shortened.
ZZ? Okay. Yeah. So what kind of got you got you into wrestling as far as not only like wanting to actually know, like to actually get in the ring, but visually, like what were you watching? What kind of like made you fall in love with it at first?
Um, SmackDown. SmackDown. That was the first thing that ever made me fall in love with wrestling. Period.
Yeah.
My mom took me to GameStop when I was 6 years old, and they had this big bin that had little like discs of like dollar discs or whatever. And
Yeah.
SmackDown Here Comes the Pain was the first game, the first wrestling game that I
Yeah.
picked out.
That's a goated game. That's one of the best.
It's
I mean,
top three for me, definitely, until this day. And
yeah.
my mom, I don't think she knew exactly what all was inside the game. But she was just like, wrestling, you're a boy, here, have fun. Okay, great.
Yeah.
And I saw that they use weapons. A steel trash can was one of my first ones. I will say from that point, that was the first match I played on the game. And then I watched the entrances. When I say the entrances and like the theme songs, how they would come out, the production of it all, from the promos and then the segments in between. Like, I fell in love with wrestling because of the showmanship
Oh, yeah.
of the show. It's not always about the combat. Yes, I love wrestling. I am a wrestler, and I'm very grateful to God for my abilities. But when it comes to the anticipation of a show, even when like a WrestleMania graphic pops up of a match between like Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, you see that graphic pop up, and you're like holy wow, like this looks like it's gonna be a banger. And then the entrances have to follow up and be bangers as well. The promos in between, the character work, all of that plays such critical parts in wrestling. And I never want to downplay that within my own wrestling ability as well.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And I think that's what kind of has always at least kept wrestling fresh for me is that it's not just one thing. It's like you have all these different aspects where if, sometimes I can be from watching endless matches and it can kind of, get me a little burnt out, but then I start watching promos and segments and all this different stuff and it pulls me right back in every time. I think they said that in The Godfather, but
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I feel like everyone like around our age, like the WB video games really like brought so many people into wrestling. Because that's how I kept up with wrestling for the longest time when I was growing up, was just
Really?
getting SmackDown versus Raw or something like that. Well, because I wasn't allowed to watch wrestling, so just getting the video game, like I would just learn the wrestlers from there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. How did y'all learn about wrestling?
So me, like, we're brothers. So, like, our dad was actually like a fan of wrestling, 80s, 90s, like fair weather fan. He would go to like live shows and stuff, throw it on TV sometimes. So, like, it was around when we were a kid. But I would say, finally, because my parents wouldn't buy me the pay-per-views because that's right. Once I started watching it on TV, I was like, I need to see a pay-per-view, and I think it was Royal Rumble, like 2000 or something like that. So a long time ago, little kid got to go over to like a neighbor's house who was an older kid, and they paid for it and stuff. And it's remember like just like a life changing moment for me. I remember walking back down from there that night, being in the school bus the next day, and just being like, this is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, it's
It's
fun. I think I always saw John watching it growing up and stuff, but like I think John Cena era was big for me. Kind of really got me into it.
Which one?
Just like I don't know, probably like 2005, 2006 era John Cena. I really got into it.
he liked Batista too.
Yeah, that
Don't
too.
let him keep that from anybody.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a don't let him keep that from anybody. That's a solid pick, bro. He's a very underrated legend.
He is. He is. He's done his thing too. So like, and he's in acting now and stuff. And yeah, so some people it's hard to put down and go back, but yeah, I've always respected Batista, and
I
he's
yeah.
underrated for
I
sure.
would say he's the best wrestling actor right now.
Yeah,
Like easily, I think. Like
yeah,
Yeah, I can see
yeah.
that.
And as he said, he likes to pick projects that are artistically cool and
Yeah.
stuff, and then he
mhm.
wants to do. And I think he was kind of taking a shot at The Rock for sure and John Cena, but
Well,
hey,
that's why
that's what
the
wrestlers do.
yeah.
You gotta keep cutting promos. It doesn't stop when you switch industries.
Well,
So
that's why The Rock's doing like that real serious movie now with the that boxing movie.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't
yeah,
know if you saw the trailer for it. Is
I
anyone? Yeah,
I need to see this trailer. Okay, I'm learning something new today.
he looks nothing like he's wearing like so much like prosthetics on his face that like doesn't look like it. It's because it's a true story, I think, of
yeah.
like it's
I think
not
it's like
boxing,
early
it's
MMA.
MMA. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like early MMA and like mixed martial arts, like going on a bigger stage, I guess. But yeah, and The Rock also was working on a Scorsese movie, and that's why he's completely destroyed the Cena angle. But that's a whole
That's
nother
for another time.
that's
Yeah,
a whole nother thing,
The whole
you
different
know?
day,
yeah.
bro.
Yeah, like CM Punk said, that bald-headed idiot, whatever he said on the last Raw. So
Something.
always leave it to Punk
He
to
was
get
talking about
things
Vin
right.
Diesel actually.
Yeah. So, you start out kind of playing video games, watching SmackDown. When did you get to the point where you're just, you're like, of course, at that, you're younger, you're like, yeah, I'd love to do this when I grow up. But like, what was like the moment where you're just like, all right, I'm really going to do this and look for a wrestling school and kind of take the steps and everything to do that?
Um, I was I would say I was 15. I was 15 when I decided I wanted to be a wrestler because I didn't grow up loving it. I'm sorry. I didn't grow up loving the idea of wanting to step into the ring.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be a fan. But when specifically it was 2K14, that video game came out. It's always video game related, I guess, but that game came out. And one of the trailers for it, Fall Out Boy, The Phoenix, was one
Mhm.
of the songs for it. I never heard that song before. And the way that the song just went perfectly with the ad, I was like, you know what? I want to be in a video game one day. That was my only thought. And I was like, well, I guess if I want to be in the video game, I got to get in the ring. So I just said from that day, okay, one day I'll be in there.
Yeah.
And then when I was 19, I just started college, but I knew I didn't want to pursue my degree field even when I started. I already knew that off rip, not for the rest of my life because I still love wrestling. So
Yeah.
I started to look around, and there were a few schools in Atlanta that I did consider, but the WWA four is where I'm based out of. That's my home. That's where I went.
And then and then I know AR Fox is your trained you. When did he kind of come into the picture? Was that early on or was that
Oh, that was day one.
day one? Okay.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. Cool. I was intimidated the first day I ever saw him,
Can
bruh. It
imagine.
was so funny. It's downpouring outside and it's cloudy. I pull up to the parking area and we're in like these garage units and the one next to him, this U-Haul driver is like, yo, your kids keep blocking like the driveway. And then Fox and him are just going at it verbally. just like go back inside. Everybody's going back inside. The guy runs away, and I'm in my car, shook. I'm witnessing all this happening. I said nothing. I'm just like, this is my first impression of wrestling. Great. I, I'll walk in, and the moment I see Fox, like, "What's up, man? How are you?" Ain't nothing happened. I was like, "Okay, well, hey, my name is Matthew," and he asked if I wanted to hop into the ring immediately. I
Oh my God, yeah.
didn't put any money down at that point. I just at that moment, that's when I was like, let me just see if I can even handle stepping inside of the ring. He told me that you're supposed to wipe off your feet before you enter the ring each time. And I did that for the first time ever. The moment I stepped foot into the ring, I was like, oh, everything feels different now. This feels like my feet felt grounded in the ring.
Yeah. Oh, I never thought about it like that. I didn't know if it was always just like a thing out of respect, or anything like that, but that kind of connects a lot more, honestly. It makes sense. And that's cool that he was like awesome from the get-go because there's like, you watch like interviews with a lot of other wrestlers, especially in the back in the day, glory days of wrestling in the 80s, 90s, or even before that. And it was pretty psychotic how like some of the trainers were, like they would look to like, injure you the first day or
Yes, yeah.
curse you out and stuff, try to intimidate you and like scare you. It was like you're getting into the mob or something. So that's kind of awesome because yeah, I mean, you want to have that like comfortability from the start so you can kind of
Did you have to go through an intense initiation phase?
yeah.
Oh, kind of, kind of, yeah. Um, so we all had to first hit the ropes. That was the first thing you should do. Hit the ropes, do the basic rolls, front rolls, back rolls, quarter rolls, all that to make sure you can at least physically get in there and do something. We did that for like the first day, and it wasn't the rolls weren't the bad part for me. The ropes ass. I'm gonna say, nah, no. I remember I was like, I never turned red before that point in like different sections. It was like all the way up here, and I had to hit the ropes 20 times each direction. That was only day one. I had never played a sport up until this point. I physically barely worked out before I started wrestling. So I'm getting in there. I'm saying, oh, this is a lot. And then we continued to do drills where we would have to line up all of us outside the ring. One person runs in, throws a line, duck down, like jump, like leapfrog, like, and then all the way around for hours.
Oh,
Yeah, that's something I never like considered until kind of, like hearing about it from the wrestlers about like how much the ropes hurt. Like, because watching on TV, you're just like, you think they're just like bouncing right off, like, oh,
Yeah.
it must feel like great, it's like nice and bouncy. It's just like, no, no, like, it definitely is painful until I'm sure you start to, build that tolerance up. It's like, any contact like sports where it's just like
Yeah.
your body starts to just get used to it, and you get through that sore period and then it's just yeah, you're ready to rock and roll. But yeah, that's also so when did you what was like the moment though during kind of the beginning of training where you felt like okay, I think I've got something here, like you really felt like that confidence building, if you remember that moment or moments.
Um, it was, I will say, my debut match.
Yeah.
My debut match happened in July of 2020, and we had no fans, of course, because
COVID era.
yeah, yeah, we were we weren't wrestling around anybody. We were all masked up, but in the ring it was one thing. Nobody was around, but after that match, a few weeks later, there was a there was a list that was put out that was top 500 black wrestlers in, like of the world. I was number 499.
There you go.
That's
Oh yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Good for me. And actually, I will say for my debut match, I pat myself on the shoulders. I actually wasn't that. I wasn't half bad. Other
Yeah.
matches after that, working. But that one, that was fine.
Yeah, it's probably pretty solid situation too. Because first match, I mean, I don't know. For me, I'm sure you felt some nerves and all that because all your training is led up to this moment. So it's probably in a good way, like the COVID era, where like the crowd was smaller and stuff like that. Where you're just like, all right, this is, I've trained for this. I got that the crowd isn't affecting me too much, and I kind of can just do my thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's such a want for entertainment during that time too, you know.
yeah.
That's all we all needed at that moment, my lord. I was happy to be there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think 499 is where our podcast is rated too, of wrestling podcasts in the world.
Hey,
Hey,
We're number one though.
we're
We
working
rate
on it.
ourselves number one.
Yeah.
hey, I would too. Shit, y'all doing pretty well in my eyes. This is a
Yeah.
fun.
No, no, we're higher up. We're just renegades,
498.
so we don't
Oh
care
no,
about the
I know, I
numbers.
know. Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Um, but
I got a question.
Yeah, yeah.
You do the move a day thing where you post like a move each day, a different move. What kind of stuff have you been trying to work on? Is there any kind of things like a move that you're like trying to focus on that you can't perfect?
Oh, I'm actually pretty happy that I could think about that because that's actually a pretty good move. That's a pretty good question. Is there a move I can't perfect? Not to sound cocky, but I will say I would like to continue to do various Ranas.
Yeah.
There's something about that move where it just makes you have to use every part of your body. I was given there's a wrestler named King Garuda. He's also one of the four boys. When I first started out, he gave me a Rana that he used in Mexico, and it's like pick him up and I have to like flip my body like certain ways so I can like end up like twisted. I've done it before, but that's one of them I just can't necessarily get off the bat. Once I get that down, I'm off to the races. I'm hitting one from everywhere.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm super impressed with like your move set because I do like the move a day and just watching a lot of your footage and stuff. And yeah, I like that all your moves are all variations, a lot of them too, like awesome variations of, just kind of the normal move itself. And so I'm wondering, when you're trying to get influencer for new moves and stuff like that, were you hopping into like the wrestling archives? Are you looking at certain eras, looking at certain styles of wrestling and stuff, or what's kind
Oh,
of your
absolutely.
process?
Absolutely. For starters, I'll say my favorite wrestlers, because of his innovation and I his innovation and his work in general, Norman Smiley. He is when I went back and I watched and I discovered that his work is extensive, very much so. His time in UWF, he holds my favorite match is Norman Smiley versus cause not Kazawa. I can't remember his last name. Apologies, but it happened in 1989. That match, seeing his work, seeing his style, seeing the way that he got into different positions and to every submission hold that he did, I was like, that's very cool. So I also applied his entertainment aspect because he was very popular in WCW as well. So I was like, okay, that's something that I can see a lot of what I do in that already, so I can amplify that in my own work. Hence why I like different rawness. I love a wheelbarrow because you can do anything out of that. Like a
Yeah.
wheelbarrow arm drag, wheelbarrow bulldog, anything out of that.
Yeah, and it's definitely great because a lot of the audiences, besides the smart marks and stuff like that, they're seeing these different variations of Ranas and all these different moves and, awesome variations into submissions. Like a lot of them, it's the first time they're ever seeing that too, So like that, I know for me, that creativity goes such a far way with a lot of, wrestlers that kind of got me back heavier into wrestling in 2018. Like I remember, getting a little bored during the PG era. And then, I not even outside WWE, I saw like a Kenny Omega video of just like 50 different moves by Kenny Omega, and it was like 50 moves that I felt like I'd never seen before in my life.
Yeah.
And it was, because WWE, like, because they're very, they're very standard. Obviously, like when they started bringing in different people over the years and stuff like that, and brought in kind of like Eddie Guerrero's and the RBDs of the world, you started, kind of opened your eyes because it was, like you could really only watch one product back then because it's like either WCW or WWE and ECW.
Like local
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, and so yeah, it's definitely a cool thing. So kind of going into that, like what we talked about, like kind of you're coming to match. What is like up to this point? What match was one of your favorites, like across the board, like chemistry between you and that wrestler, just crowd vibe, just all of it. Which one do you think encompassed kind of all those things for you thus far? I mean, if you have a couple, that's cool too, because I'm sure there's a few that stand out to you.
Oh, one just popped in the top of my head. So one of my favorite opponents, his name is Rico Gonzalez, and he is very, very talented in that ring. Want to talk about transitions? That boy got it. He's one of the only wrestlers that can actually make me like feel like I'm no shade working at the end of the night. Like we had one match and we had this storyline build up where we had like a series of like singles matches, various one-on-ones, and this final one was just a hardcore match. We decided right before the match to go get what is it, WD-40?
Yeah.
And use that for a spot for 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 the match. So we used fire in the match. We used tables. We did use chairs. We used the entire area, the entire arena. We went back through Gorilla, came all the way back through the other side. We dove. He dove. We had two rings in that building at the A4 building. So he was diving from each ring. I was diving off of stuff. That was one of my favorite matches, hands down. I'll say I'll have.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so it seems like you were saying kind of early on with video, as far as video games of weapons and all that. So
Yeah.
I'm sure you were excited to kind of do the hardcore because, I mean, it just adds a whole nother element as well, because you have regular spots you're doing, and then you have your hardcore spots, and that's why those matches too is just like filled with nonstop action, and then you can go back in the ring, kill it, and then figuring out what you can do creatively with all these weapons, and again doing variations of things I've done before, but something newer. Yeah,
it's a storytelling device,
yeah. Yeah, because you have a lot of people out there that are, a lot of wrestlers that are wrestlers and fans alike that are kind of can be anti-hardcore, which, I usually argue with them because I'm just like, are you WWE fan? Like, yeah. And then I'll just name a bunch of hardcore matches and they're like, oh, okay. And it's just like, all right, nice try. You love it. Okay.
Yeah.
And,
it's cool to be versatile, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm technically not. I wouldn't label myself a hardcore wrestler. I can do the thing if needed, of course, but I would say dream match, steel cage.
Yeah. And
no one's walking right out the door.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You don't want to get Jesse Ventura pissed off like he wasn't Saturday Night Main Event, which I agree with that psychology. It's like, why climb it if you just have it open the whole time? And it takes away from it. I guess, Michael Cole says the ultimate disrespect, but I think it's the ultimate disrespect to fans. All right, Michael. But He had Triple H yelling at him in his ear, so he had Trips punching holes in the wall all night. Him and Pat
No,
McAfee at
sorry,
one
we love
time.
Hunter in this house. So imagine, I'm sorry. We love Hunter. I love you, Hunter. Thank
Yeah. Yeah, so talking about President, what products are you watching right now as far as like WWE and AEW or NXT? What are you kind of feeling these days?
you. Really, NXT.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I would say NXT is the number one that I follow. I
Yeah.
would say, yeah.
And
W
and you're looking at these two guys, they're very upset because we just got Mariah May over to NXT, but I'm excited, you know.
I'm just happy the
it,
ecosystem is thriving,
Yeah, NXT is what ROH kind of, used to be, but now they keep upping it, and it's easy when you're just adding the most talented wrestlers, in the world, especially bringing over top AEW talent and top
And
talent from overseas. But
Stephanie Bakir,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Julia, bro. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I know. Now they're both on the main roster, and yeah, Money in the Bank is this Money in the Bank to me, like as far as the women's Money in the Bank, it's the most stacked one they've ever had,
yeah,
like
Oh,
hands
Yeah.
down.
who are your picks, Samir, for the men and women's Money in the Bank matches?
Yeah,
ooh. Um,
we're big on our predictions here.
for me, okay, for women's, I will say Naomi.
That's what I'm picking. Yeah.
Please,
Yeah, you got
please,
Yeah.
just one. Because she's been what? She's competed in like two or three of them now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
would love to see her, especially with this new gimmick that she has.
Mhm.
I love the new theme song personally. I
yeah,
love everything she has. I feel like she needs the opportunity to show that she can really drive it home
Mhm.
and really just say like, "F all y'all, I'm Naomi. I've been here for this long, so really,
Yeah.
she's my number one."
Mhm.
yeah, and she's done fantastic heel work. Because I liked her as a face, but I'm a heel wrestling fan, so like I respect faces work and stuff like that, but I'm I like the heels, and
Yeah,
if you can run as a heel, then yeah, face work is an easy thing.
I love being here.
I'm looking at it. Do you have Naomi too?
I mean, who do y'all have?
it's a good question.
I have Naomi. Yeah.
Okay,
I,
yes, I have.
I
Yeah.
was thinking,
Yeah,
I was thinking
here.
Naomi.
yeah, for me, before like Stephanie McCourt
Yeah, I was
was in
thinking
it,
Stephanie
I
too.
was thinking, oh, maybe Julia, but I think Stephanie McCourt has like more. I don't know. I say like I feel like she's established her character more. We kind of have an idea. Like with Julia, we're still kind of trying to figure out like amazing in ring. We know that, but I feel like as a fan because I love her, but I feel like we're still as fans trying to figure out exactly who she is in WWE still. Where with like Stephanie, like I think it's yeah, we kind of have an idea. So for me, I would love to see that. Um, I would love to see Stephanie Vacour take it. But yeah, I for me it's a win-win-win across the board, no matter who takes it. If
Yeah.
mommy wins, I'm cool with that. And Alexa Bliss is in the match too. I've always been an Alexa fan.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's gonna be
Yeah.
interesting because when you have stacked matches like that as a fan, it's so much fun because I love not knowing. I hate going into
Yeah.
premium live events or pay-per-views and being like, all right, yeah, this person's
Mhm.
obviously gonna win, and it takes you out of it. But when you have a stacked match like that, it's awesome. And I guess we might as well pick the winner of the
Yeah.
male
And
match
that
too.
go yeah, it goes the same when you have an unstacked match like the men's one. You don't know who's gonna win.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It seems like Rollins, obviously all signs point to that,
Yeah.
unless CM Punk gets involved, because now he's not in the match. You know, it would, yeah,
Ooh, do you think that? Well, you know what? I'm running with your idea because Seth Rollins was my
Mhm.
only pick realistically,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I need Punk there
yeah, and he's
somewhat.
And he owes them those receipts after they screwed him, So he's got to help his boy Sammy. But even with Sammy, you've got, Killer Cross now always being a pain in his ass and trying
For
to make him an
now,
evil
dude.
guy. So
They
there's a lot of that's why I really like going to this Money in Bank. There's a lot of storylines going on for both the men's and women's match. So it can go so many different ways and so many people will be taken out of it. And I know a lot of WWE fans you know, want LA Knight, which I think LA Knight, his year to win it was probably last year. He's still getting those pops, and everyone's loving LA, but
Yeah.
I feel like he really, really had that next level, rocket ship to the moon energy from the crowd last year, and it's still there, but it's not exactly
The
where
same
it was.
Yeah.
behind it. He
Moment.
carries it. I love LA Knight. He's
So
carried
do
it
I.
for years. I feel like if they were to really try to strap the rocket onto him, I feel like he'll be up there quickly.
Yeah. That's the thing with WWE sometimes, even with changing the guards, I feel like when people get over themselves, like it's rewarded a little bit, but not as much as it should be almost. Because like, yeah, we listen to the fans, but at the end of the day, like we're making the decisions. Know your role as Dewey used to say. But
Very real, stretch your mouth. I'm so sorry.
yeah, yeah.
So, what kind of goals do you have? Like as far as like promotions, things like that.
Um,
Because of course
well,
WWE, AEW, the big boys. But what about like what are there wrestling companies that you kind of see that are out of the big two that you're just like I would love to collaborate and do something with them?
there, well, I would love to. I've always wanted to go to Japan one day,
Yeah,
at least once. I have to just like as a
yeah.
wrestler, like I get it now. When I when I first started, I didn't want to do the overseas thing. I wanted to go straight to the top. But if not even if after a few years, I was like, you know what? It would be pretty cool to go to Japan and then to see like Noah, like New Japan Pro Wrestling. If I was just to hit that point, I felt like okay, I made my mark here. I'm good. There is another show called All Caribbean Pro, and I'm pretty sure it's based out of Florida, and it's like right there, written for me basically. Haitian, they're
Yeah.
all Caribbeans. Yeah, that's what we're all built for. And I would say for the third one, Ashe, continue my work with Ashe,
yeah,
continue building that, building our brand, getting us together. I hope to have some dream matches coming up soon too.
yeah. And that was going to kind of lead to that. What are I mean, in the near future, who's someone that not only a dream match, but you would love to kind of run a program with, have a handful of matches, get some storylines going and stuff like that, some great promos, segments.
Mm.
Okay, you can call out whoever you want.
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking. I was like, okay, this sounds like that question. I would say for years, Robert Martyr.
Okay.
If y'all,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you don't know who this man is, you should look him up. This boy, he reminds me a lot of like a young Brian Danielson. Very hungry, very like extremely technical. He knows exactly what he's doing inside that ring. He has this cool ass like mohawk. I've known him for a few years, and every single like 4 years we've been saying like one day, somewhere, and soon I would love to run a magic with them. I feel like we could definitely cook up some great magic. I would say me and you know what? I will say it just because I want to do it again. Fox. I
Yeah.
just want to wrestle Fox again. That's just one of my good matches that I wanted to have on TV one day. So Fox in the future, one day he'll get his match with me again. We'll see if it's
Yeah.
if the old man still got it one day. But love you, Fox. But Martyr.
Yeah. Yeah. And in that possible dream program, are you a heel or are you a face?
Um, I would be a face.
Yeah,
I would definitely be a face. With Martyr, I feel like he can bring out a much more visceral side of me that maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know I have because his work, his skill level is something that we've never met each other before. I feel like he would be very good as a heel because all I have to do is make the crowd get behind me, and that's the easiest thing in my eyes. They already love me.
yeah. Um, and my next segment is a little quick one called in reference to Triple H, take a bump. This one's sponsored by Red Bull. What are some of the what are what are some of the worst bumps you've taken? Just a couple that were just like painful and just you'll remember those for your career for sure.
Mm, okay, off top of my head, top rope superplex, no ho. That that
Yeah,
the one. No, the immediate crash landing, it does definitely hurt. I remember it wasn't. I have two more. I did Alexa Bliss, the Twisted Bliss move that she does.
yeah,
I do that. So I remember my opponent moved out of the way one time, and I have never hit my stomach so hard. So front bump wise, that sucks. All the air out of me. And Batista. Speaking of him, I took a running power bomb one time, and a power bomb, I will say, hate it. I'll take one. I will like I for the sake of the business because because I'm a boy at the end of the day. I'll do my job, but that's my least favorite move to take as a power bomb because you don't know when you're going back and you just
yeah,
I gotta just feel it right here in the top of my spine.
yeah. Well, the good thing about rough bumps, at least they're easy to sell,
That is true.
it brings the realism for sure, and I'm sure you can look back like, yeah, that was a good sell there. It was definitely real and it hurt
It was definitely it
tremendously,
was
but yeah, but I'll remember how I reacted there and use that on something else.
it, it looked good on camera. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine. All right, I'll deal with the pain later.
Yeah, and how was and then, as obviously as you start doing more and more shows and they have these, shows that you're doing that are streamed now, was it a hard transition to start like, all right, let me make sure I'm facing hard cam for this or like being aware of that? Because that's like another thing thrown in that I'm sure you don't think about when you first get into wrestling, of like, oh yeah, I can do everything in the ring, but then you have this like other part of you that has to remember like, okay, hard cam is here. I've got another camera out there, kind of coming up close to the ring. We're gonna do this spot there. Like, so what was that kind of transition of kind of dealing with that, or is it something that just kind of came easy?
Um, oh, kind of two things. When we first started, we had no fans back in yeah, back in 2020 for a period. So we only had to rely on the camera. I remember Fox would put his phone, he would prop it up on a ladder, and that would be the hard cam. So we so we would have to find the hard cam, and also like one of the boys will be recording with their phone, moving around. So we would have Fox would make us in training during our practice matches. He would make us have to find the camera, and every single Thursday we had a weekly show, and it still happens to this day. Like it has been its own episodic thing by itself. We would have to go out there perform like we were already superstars, already active talent wherever we were. So finding the cameras there helped me to now fast forward. It wasn't an easy transition only being around fans on smaller indie shows and then going onto a show like Ashe where the production is very much big. It's bigger than me physically. Hearing like backstage after my debut match at All Shay, hearing like the cameras are here, like Roman camera is here, hard camera I was like back over here, all this stuff. I was like, oh, and the ref was mic'd up as well. And like I was like, okay, so that was the moment where everything clicked. Because in my head, I was like, let's go out there and wrestle.
Yeah.
For like TV wise, what they want is something different. It's something way tighter. They want you to be like precise. Here are your spots. Here's this one. Here's that. So that transition was tough. It wasn't hard for me to adjust to necessarily because it was already built in, but it was a rough reawakening, like a little
Mhm.
shakeup for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's awesome that AR from the start kind of prepared, you and everyone else who was training for that because, yeah, I'm sure that's not always the case with some people training out there where when they're kind of thrown into that, they're just kind of like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I mean, even I've listened to wrestlers even that just got up to like the WWE level, and like they had no clue whatsoever, and like that was a huge transition for them, which is a crazy transition to make when you have millions of people watching you. So that's awesome from the start. He kind of prepared everybody for everything you'll be seeing in the future. Um, and talking about the indie circuits too, what are some so you're based out of Atlanta area?
Yes.
Yeah, so what are some indie shows that you love in the Atlanta area that you haven't worked yet that kind of have some interest for you?
I was hmm, one off the top of my head. I haven't wrestled for Action Wrestling yet. That's one. I have not wrestled for Action yet. And another one in Atlanta. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any more in Atlanta. I've
Yeah.
hit a lot of shows down here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Action wrestling, I've gone to a few shows and it's awesome. Southern Iron Wrestling it has done some cool stuff too, and they've done some crossover to action. Because one thing I will say about Southern Iron Wrestling, like for an indie show, it's got like such a great setup as far as like they have a built-in stage, like the speakers are like next level because they do like shows there like for bands and stuff, I guess as well. Um, but I,
Some production value can go a long
yeah,
way.
but I
Like,
liked Action
uh,
Wrestling watching it more because like they actually have like a hard like like vertical like stands so you can actually like see it, whereas like some indie shows you go to, it's just all a lot of them honestly, where you're just
yeah, everybody sits down
standing
and
in the
stand level.
back, and if you don't have front
Yeah.
row, first or second row, you're just
Yeah, that's
standing up in
standard.
the back is the better option.
Then having someone taller in front of you, which is
Yeah.
inevitable.
Yeah, yeah. Or if a lot some shows you go to are stinkier than others as far as crowds. That's another thing as a fan that I kind of when I'm checking off lists. Or me and Chris went to a show and we just had some foot fetish guy by us, and Janae Kai
Mhm.
was wrestling the whole time, and we just trying to watch her wrestle, and she wrestles with with her feet out because she's like a Street Fighter character. She's awesome, and yeah. But have you gone to any shows at Center Stage?
I I've
What is that segue?
Well, we're talking about Atlanta, talking about ATL.
That was awesome, dude.
No, no. What'd you have to say, Chris? We can go to Center Stage.
Oh, no, I was gonna say about the smelly fans, dude. That was the only good thing about COVID. It was that like we had masks on. I couldn't smell anything.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, for
That's
real.
actually fair.
GCW shows very, very stinky, extremely. But yeah, I was gonna say, have you ever gone to any shows at Center Stage?
Oh yeah.
What
I
a great
wrestled
wrestling venue, by the way. Small inter-
right. It's a very nice wrestling venue. I love the stairs that go up. Very, very nice. I wrestled for AWE a few times under Murder One.
Okay.
It was pretty. That was a pretty cool experience. Yeah, I've wrestled Center Stage before. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. As a fan, I love watching shows there. It's awesome, and even the way it's like set up perfectly in the outside too for merch stands for wrestlers and stuff like that, how everything wraps around and it's all dark out there. It's just a total vibe that place. And yeah, they used to do Thunder back in the day, so it makes sense.
Yeah, WCW tapings.
Yeah.
I did not know. No, that is something I did not know.
Yeah.
Huh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was definitely made for that for sure.
We want to talk about Nasty Leroy more though. I saw you popping when we brought him up.
I did because he's that man. Because
He is
that's
that man, dude.
yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love Nasty Leroy in this household. I've
Yeah.
met. I'm pretty sure I met him. What was that? Oh, what number was WrestleMania in Florida where Sasha Banks and Bianca main evented? What number was that?
37,
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah.
Was that the second year when they actually had the crowd?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
there's 37, I think.
Yeah.
37. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's where I met him because that was my first WrestleMania trip. That was my 1st out of town trip for real, and we hit it off right off the bat.
Yeah.
It was at a GCW show. It was outside. We were outside. It was hot. Cool dude.
He's a good
Still to
dude,
this day.
yeah.
Still to this day, funny.
He took
Yeah.
Jason on some business meetings to Hooters a few times.
Yeah, that's where his business meetings are, Hooters.
Yeah,
You gotta meet him there.
Yeah.
You gotta get him some wings.
Yeah,
make sure.
Yeah, and we've had the pleasure of going on the road with him a few times for sure, besides the Ashe event. And yeah, it's always a good time for sure. We brought him to actually I saw you wrestled there in Red Bank, the TWE arena. We because I started going there to see ICW shows, the hardcore shows, because I kind of my thing, you know, when I got back at like heavy into wrestling, I always watched like kind of the mainstream stuff, but I never had gotten the chance when I was younger to really hit the indie scene, you know, and check out all these different genres, all these, you know, all these different vibes and figuring out finding new wrestlers and stuff. Yeah, so it's cool. But anywhere you go with him, like whether it's TWE or wherever, like every wrestler, every person just loves him, and he you know, he sticks to kayfabe. You know, he's even when he's like not completely in character, he's still like a little bit in character. You know, so he's a classic and he's a gem in this business for sure. And
he's a true road dog.
Yeah.
He's a true road dog. He should.
Yeah. No, exactly. And and he
also just speaks to like how like cool the community is in wrestling, you know what I mean? The fact that like so many people are just connected through one wrestler or one like person in the realm, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Like Nasty Leroy, who would have thought? Like love that man.
Yeah, he is that man. And yeah, and I love heel Leroy too. That's what's kind of cool is he goes back and forth, you know, and I'm still waiting for him to face Cardona because we actually was that a TNA show?
It was.
We went to the TNA show at Center Stage and it was great because we were in the outside area. I think the event ended and we were just I think that's when we met Top Dollar for a moment or whatever. And it was funny. Cardona was passing and Leroy started talking shit and Cardona went at him, you know, talking shit too. But as Nasty said, and I'll keep repeating on this podcast, Cardona keeps ducking him. He's scared and we get it, dude. You know, you're the indie god, but you're not ready for Nasty Leroy. But
that's a whole different challenge right there.
Yeah.
Come on, we need that match. I would actually love to see that. I need this actually. I would love to see this match. Come on, Matt Cardona versus Nasty Leroy.
Yeah,
give people what they want.
Yeah, and he's I love his back and forth over the years with Cheeseburger too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he's on or off his Rap Bastard list, but because he comes on and off of it a lot, but yeah, you don't want to be on the Rap Bastard list.
I've not heard of the Rap Bastard list.
It's even better than Jericho's. He just made the list because because he won't let up. You know, he doesn't just throw you on the list. He cuts promos.
He won't let up.
It's
crazy. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else do we got in the chamber for you?
I want to see about I mean, outside of wrestling, like, do you have any influences from like film or TV or any other media like that?
Ah, yes, yes, I will say a lot of my influences come from my culture, come from my Haitian culture, from the music I listen to. I will say, artist wise, I love French music, of course, but I love what we call it compa. It's but we use that music in Haiti, and it's a mixture of French style music and our own island music. So it's very nice to groove with and dance move. I like to visually. I like in my head. I like big, elaborate, extreme, like cool visual things. I will say if I were to pick like a scenery of what my mind would look like for wrestling, I would say I would put myself in like a coliseum.
Hell yeah.
Take it back to like
Yeah.
it's really be surrounded in front of all these people.
Yeah, that's up. So going back to kind of even not even AR Fox, but like what's some of like the best early advice you got from some veterans or even veterans that you like looked up to and you were just excited to meet them, and then also they kind of dropped some knowledge on you that it's really stuck with you, and also you still when you're going through something tough within industry or just in general, like that you kind of go to and you kind of remember like, yeah, okay, this is I remember what so and so told me.
Um, I remember a while back, I met Shelton Benjamin for the first time, and I asked him like straight up. I was like, "How, as a black man in this business, because it is different for us on our side." So I wanted to ask him personally, like, how did you, for all the accolades that he achieved before WWE and professional wrestling, and like in all of his career, how did he keep a head on his shoulder, like a good head on his shoulders, and keep going and maintain it? The main key points that he gave me was like, just don't stop. There's no reason for any of that, any of whoever else says anything about like my skin tone or anything else about me that should be able to stop me, that would be able to stop me. Because not no pun intended, ain't nothing stopped him. So
Yeah.
we gotta be
Yeah.
that was a great moment that I really do cherish because I'm like this he didn't have to take out the time, but he did. And I'm so new into this business that I gathered all those little gems. And he also like taught me some like physical wrestling stuff, some little like tidbits that I could add to my arsenal. So we're very grateful about that.
Yeah,
Also Rikishi. I met Rikishi. Boy, have you ever been to Waffle House and had the peanut butter chips on top of the waffles?
Yeah, I have.
you did. I haven't done
Nah.
that.
If y'all haven't, do that. That was one of the he was at a show that I was at as well a while back, and that was one of the tips he gave me.
There you go.
Hire, so thank you. I
Yeah.
haven't switched up since.
Thank you, Oos, for that.
How he got all that ass, dude.
Thick.
Yeah.
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 But that's how you know the real ones are too. The ones that have been in it for a while, they don't have to give advice to anybody. And, it's a very competitive field like anything else. And, I see with like, music, acting, wrestling, any of that, any type of sport, a lot of people don't, they see you as competition, so they don't, and they see the new up and comers and they're not gonna, I don't want to help them, and some do the complete opposite and they're just, total D heads to them too. But, uh, yeah,
Yeah, I think it's a
Yeah, which it can happen. It's happened,
yeah,
but it's better. It's a better feeling when it's the who behind the words that really mean something. Because words at the end of the day, take them how you want to take them. You can take them on the chin or you can take them to heart. But getting that advice from vets and more vets along the way, like Myron Reed, he's one of the vets that
Mhm.
really talked to me and like just he's super cool. A lot of these guys are really cool behind the scenes, and a lot of the ones that and there's not many, but any of the ones in the past before me who have ever tried to throw shade on anybody else or really didn't do the best or nicest work to get to where they wanted to be didn't really get far. So it was nice to see that the vets are helping the young boys out when we need it.
Yeah, that's huge, you know,
Yeah, sure.
because that's how we keep the wrestling industry going, and the future gets brighter and brighter for sure. Because I would say wrestling is the most competitive it's ever been, because so many people are watching it now, and they can watch all different companies any day of the week now, because you know it's streaming, internet, social media, X, just everything, you know. So it's so many people getting into pro wrestling, you know, just endless people. So it's super competitive. So, you know, and that says a lot about where you're at, you know, working for companies like Ashe, and moving up in this industry, because yeah, it's there is an insane amount of wrestlers for sure, and tons of talented ones, endless talent. But of course, it's kind of, you know, encompassing, as we were talking about in you know, the early portion of this, everything, you know, from not just in ring, but you know, down to the entrance music you're using and coming out, and the vibe you give fans from the second you walk out there, from promos, and yeah, and learning the camera work, and you know, and how to play at a camera, and how to look good on camera too, because you can you know, wrestlers can have matches that look great in front of the fans, but then you go and watch it back and it doesn't translate as well, you know. And
That's
yeah,
true.
so that's awesome. And yeah, I have another quick segment called On the Road Again, sponsored by Zyn.
Oh wow.
Zyn
Also,
responsibly. This isn't for little kids.
yeah.
But what's a road story that, you know, hilarious, fun, you know, kind of crazy, that stands out to you? And who is the road dogs with you for that?
Mm. I was well, I could take it back to my first Mania trip going down to Florida. It was me. The guys' names were Cavern Canyon was one of them. Um, Justin Crone, Dante Darko, and Cujo. Yeah, all of us were in the car riding down from Atlanta to Florida. And Justin's car, his car was older, a lot older. We were driving. We got down there. Everything was fine. The trip was going well. The day of WrestleMania, it starts raining outside, and we're trying to get back to our Airbnb. In the car, his serpentine belt snaps.
Oh my God.
So so we immediately have to pull over on the side of the
Mhm.
highway. Where we are, thank God, where we are or where we were, it was off an exit and there was an
Mhm.
auto zone right down the road.
Mhm.
And then Cavron Canyon, big man, saved the day. Don't know how he knows all the stuff about cars. Didn't ask no questions.
Yeah.
He went and got a new serpentine belt off of like minor inspection. Knew exactly
Mhm.
what it was and changed it right there in
Yeah.
the rain. It took us 2 hours,
Mhm. Yeah,
like to get
that's
home.
yeah.
The whole ordeal.
That's like the worst belt to change, I'm pretty sure. Like the most annoying one to do.
Bro, I saw it. I was like,
Yeah.
yo, it's so tight. You had to go all the way. There's like three
Yeah,
different
dude.
fits. I was like,
I couldn't imagine trying to do that in the pouring rain too on the
Yeah.
side of a highway.
And then pressure on you too, because you're just like, we need to get to Mania.
we need to get back home. This show's about to
Yeah.
start, and we're gonna. I was so upset, but we ended up making it there on time. We had pizza, Yeah,
There
food.
you go.
Everything was great.
Oh.
Actually, the story's still not over because the next day, not even Monday, going back home because we had Saturday and Sunday, the belt was fine. Going back home, the belt broke again.
Oh my God.
So we are current, like now at this point, the craziest thing happens. Justin is driving, trying to find any car just randomly for sale on the side of the road. And there's a minivan outside of a mechanic shop. It is what it is. There's a minivan outside of a mechanic shop, and we had 2 hours. He had 2 hours to now buy this minivan. We're in Florida still. Buy this minivan, go get the tag for it, do everything legally that has to be done before we have to get home. We had 2 hours before the office closed. So by literal, like, I kid you not, 4 minutes by the skin of our teeth, we were back on the road. We didn't get home until like overnight.
That's
insane.
Yeah, yeah. At least it wasn't downpouring that day though, at least, right?
No, the sun was out. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm sure you guys weren't by AutoZone
What
that
did he?
time now.
What did he sell? Did he sell the other car to the mechanic? He's like kind of like traded.
I think so. I think he was like, "Yo, just have it here."
Yeah.
We were all pissed. It was hot, bro. Florida's hot. It
Yeah.
was already humid. It was a lot.
That's insane. That's so funny.
I have too many. There's so
That's cool. Then
many.
you guys had the minivan. You were going best friend style. You know, you see,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure
see
were.
Trent's mom to roll up for you guys. Maybe it's the minivan they used in what was that, Stadium Stampede? They showed up, or was that an Anarchy Arena? I keep combining
Parking
them
lot
in my head.
brawl.
There you go. Parking
Heck
lot
yeah.
brawl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Shoot.
Yeah.
None of us talked about that trip for the next 2 days. We needed a moment.
I wouldn't do
You
it.
need to
Yeah.
decompress.
I
Yeah.
want
Yeah, that's that, once okay, but twice, that's nightmare fuel.
Dude, that
You
every
know?
time I would drive, I would just be like thinking like, is this shit gonna fucking snap again? You know what I mean?
And that's
I'd be
exactly
so
what
paranoid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The trauma is real from car events. And yeah.
terrified. I learned what the serpentine belt was, but yeah, that was the trip. That was the first road
Yeah.
trip. That was like, holy shit, this is wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we're talking about like kind of current wrestling in WWE. Yeah, who are kind of the top three male and female wrestlers that you've really, yeah, because it's I kind of like, I like almost everybody in WWE. I'd say probably everyone. Like, there's not many wrestlers I don't like, honestly, because as I was saying, the talent is so good that like it's like you're seeing those top two companies. It's any like on any occasion, any of them can be a main eventer, in a top tier guy or girl. And but who's been kind of your favorites this year at least?
Men's side,
Yeah,
Oba. I would say Oba Femi.
yeah,
Fire.
yeah,
That man right there, intense.
yeah,
Trick Williams, because not too much. He has done an incredible job. Come on, that TNA crossover was crazy. I would have never thought that would happen in a million years. The come on, boy, the champion. I love that man so much. And for a third, I'll say Dominic.
yeah.
He does his
Huge
big
Dirty
right
Dom
there
fan
with
right
you.
here. Yep. Dude,
He's
the pop he
fantastic.
got at WrestleMania, when even before he was like, before he even won the IC title, like anything he was kind of doing in the ring, like the fans were just so over. Like even if he wasn't chosen to win that night, like they should, it would have been smart to even change it on the fly, because they've tried so hard to like try to get him back into heel mode, but it's not possible. Everyone loves him, and how can you hate on him? His game is real. We've watched him literally just grow up on screen, because I remember when he, kind of speaking of COVID, like that, he kind of had to hop in earlier, and he's talked about that. So he's another wrestler, and, that COVID was a huge advantage of when he came in, and to see where he was when he started, just in ring work, promos, all that, to where he is now, it's just light years ahead, and it's just been awesome watching that come up. But yeah, and then on the women's side, who you been feeling in the Fed NXT world?
Um, Last Legend,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, she has been an up and coming star that I've had my eyes on ever since she started in
Mhm.
NXT. I was waiting for her, eventual call up, but she's a star in my eyes. She's a woman that I can definitely see becoming a future champion.
Mhm.
I would say a number two, Sol Ruka.
Yeah.
Have never in my life seen a finisher like that. The finisher
Mhm.
alone goes crazy.
And
But
so
her
clean too. It's like
every
it's insane.
time.
Yeah, it's insane because it's like just that move in general is something that like I can only imagine, doing, when I was younger or maybe last week, who knows, playing with my wrestling toys in the bathtub, not not in reality, but or just something you would see in a video game. Like it is completely next level. And I just don't know how she just every single time just clean, perfect. But yeah.
Y'all see she did a handspring moonsault to the outside and
Yeah.
landed on her feet, bro. Bro, she is an incredible talent. Oh, and Tiffany Stratton, it's Tiffy time. That's my girl. I love her so bad, bro. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. And when anyone asks me what time it is, I just always tell them it's Tiffy time. That's it. That's the only fucking time it is for me.
I love
Tiffy
Tiffany.
time. And yeah, she's another one that like she got into the game so young. I think she was like 21 or 20 when she first appeared in NXT.
Yeah, early.
Because I remember like someone saying her age, and I was just like, that's insane because like she came like as soon as like she first came in, she was so talented, and like it's wild. And I'm just yeah, I'm so happy that she's where she's at now, even if Charlotte was stiffing her a little bit at Mania and not, getting her feet off the ground or whatever
You
veteran
know
moves that her
what?
old man taught her, but can you do? But Charlotte, she's still my queen, you know. She's got that old school mentality though, so she's got to stay over. I get it, but
Hey, you know what? I will say, I for Tiffany's first Mania match,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
you
she
did a good job. You did a great job, love. You did a
yeah
great job, love.
there yeah there was nothing she did wrong in that match whatsoever. It was yeah, and
Charlotte was beating her ass. I'm sorry,
yeah,
Charlotte was
no, she
on.
was yeah. She was, yeah, giving her receipts that she never deserved. But you know what? That brings the realism to it. And it just showed that how tough Tiffy is too, because like if anyone doubted that, they didn't doubt it after that whatsoever. And that's why like I'm excited Mariah May's in there because yeah, I'm waiting for that dream match in the future. I want like some type of badass hardcore street fight between Tiffy and Mariah May because
I know
yeah,
she do it too. And congratulations, Mariah May, for get. Yeah, she's another one. I've been following her since I've been following Mariah May since she's straight modeling. When
Mhm.
she was like before, like right before she started even training, I saw her there too. I've seen her entire career to this day, and I am so proud of her. I've never met this girl personally, but as a fan, good for you. You did it, girl. Finally, congratulations.
yeah. Well, that's what's so awesome about the indie scene is like you go to some shows, kind of people and stuff like that. Then you see a wrestler you haven't seen before that's kind of newer, and they blow your mind. And then you're following their whole career because you have social media. You can just keep kind of following them, and then it's just like it's like going back to like music, like a band you really like when you first like find them, and not many people know about them, and like you're just so excited. And you keep watching their come up. You're like, yeah, they've got it, and then you keep seeing them rise, and then I've so many indie talent that I've loved, and I watch them go to AEW, WWE, and it's like you're like so proud, like you were a part of it. I mean, because you were as a fan, of course, but yeah, that's why like people that don't, go to too many indie shows or haven't experienced that, like there's just so many different elements to it that are so important and just so amazing as a fan that you get to experience those things. And then, yeah, so because for me right now, my favorite indie guy, he's at least made it to the top in MLW, but Cruel, I'm a huge
Yes.
Cruel rules. And yeah, that's someone that, like, yes, when I got down to Georgia and I started just trying to hit up any indie event, me and him, we were just trying to, like, let's figure out the scene. That's what's also cool too about, like, if you move to a new place, it's like, what's the wrestling scene here? What are the vibes like? And I was seeing Cruel at a few of them. First at TWE, doing like hardcore IWC stuff. And yeah, it's just been so awesome. So once he went back to MLW, with the now the Cruel character, it's amazing because it's yeah, because of course, like, you can, you know like, you can draw to Kane as far as, but like I draw to Kane as far as, like, as a grown human adult, there's, I watch wrestling live and stuff like that, and it's funny when wrestlers are trying to scare people, but like Cruel, like, legitimately, when he comes out, like, you feel like the air change in the room, and he goes by you, and you're just like, oh shit. The first time, my first instance kind of Cruel was after a TWE show in Red Bank. Like, a lot of the wrestlers and fans alike, like, because it's not tons of things going on in Red Bank, but they have like some like small karaoke bar, and I was going to use the bathroom, and he didn't have his mask on, so I hadn't known what he looked like with his mask off, because I wasn't, like, hugely aware of his career before as just Mads Kruger. And yeah, I was going to use the bathroom, and I'm like, kind of walking to this small hallway at the same time, and then all of a sudden, like, I see him, and he gives me a look. I'm like, all right, yeah, go to the bathroom, dude. Like, this guy's this guy's a monster, but also, yeah, also a really nice dude too. Because I've gone to so many indie shows, so like I always try to make some time to, shoot the shit with him when there's not too many people around. He can actually, talk
What
and get out of gimmick a little bit.
what was his karaoke song?
Oh, he didn't do karaoke that night.
It's
He didn't
fucking
seem in the
bullshit, dude.
no, he didn't seem in the best mood because he
He had
hadn't gotten his surgery yet. He had like a sling on because I think he was getting like
That's right.
some type of shoulder, or I think it was a shoulder surgery, elbow surgery done, which put him out for a
yeah,
little bit. But
that wouldn't affect my vocals personally, but
yeah,
Stand me.
yeah,
yeah.
You
yeah.
said
Well,
I don't have an issue.
we did see. You can say you performed that night.
Yeah, I sang Judas by Fozzy. That was funny.
Yeah, and then Casanova,
a few years ago.
and
So
then
it was topical at the time.
yeah, then Casanova. Valentine
did some stuff.
did Goodbye Horses, which was cool. That got the place going.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Georgia wrestling scene, I've dug it, so. And but yeah, so kind of moving forward, and we talked a little bit early on about, you're doing like next Ashe event. Any other stuff you want to plug? And
Mm. Oh, right now, the Ashe event is on June 28th
okay,
of this month.
and
June
that's in
28th.
Charlotte.
Yes,
Okay.
Charlotte, North Carolina. The next Now That's Wrestling show is it will be the 16th, but it may be coming a lot more. So more dates to come on that one. And I'm actually currently getting back out on the road now. So as more bookings come, I'm looking to branch out to any and every territory. I just got back from Las Vegas. I was out there for many a weekend, had a few shows.
Love
I'm
Vegas.
continuing. I know, right? It was great. It was a lot.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect it to be a wrestling town either, but it really is. It really is. And I can see, people are very mad about the whole WWE switch up from, yeah, hey, it's New Orleans, it's back to them. Now we're going back to Vegas, but I understand it, because Vegas, one of my favorite cities in the entire country for sure.
It makes sense. I mean, it was.
Yeah, I saw you did an event in Pennsylvania too.
I have, yes.
Yeah, I was watching this. I was like, okay, yeah, because I was just kind of seeing like where you've traveled around and stuff. And yeah, Pennsylvania, that Northeast crowd is cool. Have you gotten to Jersey yet?
I've not gotten to Jersey. No, I haven't gotten to the north really at all. That's the only territory I haven't touched. I've done Las Vegas. I've done LA. I've done Texas. I've done Florida, Pennsylvania, and not Idaho, Indiana. There we go.
Okay.
That's another one. I'm missing like a good on me, Tennessee. Good, this is a good thing, but like, yeah, a few. But I want to continue to branch out, branch out and do more. The North is next for me now that I think about it.
Yeah, I think the North, obviously, like Jersey, New York City. A good friend of the show, Puff, like the kind of that Buffalo and upstate New York scene is got some cool stuff. And gotta say, I haven't gone to any shows there yet. But Ohio's got a lot of stuff going on as far as like indie events. It kind of surprised me. I know Ohio is kind of a joke and as far as they've taken over for like the whole Florida and New Jersey man thing, but they've got some cool stuff going on. But
Pretty funny. I
yeah.
learned about Ohio recently.
Okay.
Like, for real. Not the state in general, just like over the
Yeah,
crazy
yeah, yeah.
there.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm putting into the world too that I was talking about earlier, like GCW for the culture, WrestleMania weekend, like you would be such a awesome fit there. That was a WrestleMania weekend LA. That was one of my favorite events. I went to as many events as a human can go to that weekend, and that was just bell to bell. Every single match was just fucking amazing. Honestly, it's
Yeah.
such a good event, and that's why I love that Ashe exists because there needs to be more than just one event each year in regards to the black culture overall. So it's awesome, and that's why like Ashe, like going to an event, it reminded me of the same vibe and just the same just packed to the doors too, because the people want it, the wrestling fans want it, and we need it. So um
And thank you. I appreciate. I greatly appreciate you, bro. Thank you.
yeah, of course, and
Let,
any
let Chris ask what he's
Do
gonna.
yeah,
we have
Chrissy.
time for the movie of the week segment?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um,
It's my favorite segment. We all pick one movie we've seen over the last week or two or month.
yeah,
I
something to look out for.
already got.
Anyone does anyone have one ready in the
You
chamber?
got it, Chris.
Oh, okay. I saw guys 2002 classic John Q starring Denzel. I don't know if you guys seen that movie.
Yeah, yeah, I have.
People kind of make fun of it because it's like very on the nose. It's like but it's like John Denzel plays his dad who his son needs like a heart transplant and he like holds a hospital hostage.
That's
It's very on the nose, but I thought it was awesome. And they Eddie Griffin's in it, if you guys know who that is, and he was
Love.
fucking hilarious in it.
I have never heard of this movie. What is this movie called?
John Q.
John Q.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look. I have to watch
I
this
think
now.
it's
That's
on I think it's on Amazon Prime.
even
Yeah,
better.
yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. I will watch
Yeah.
it.
It's it's a good movie. I fucked with it, but I always fuck with Eddie Griffin. So
yeah, he's
Yeah,
classic.
he's a goat.
I'll just go real quick. I watched Who's Harry Crumb with John Candy.
Come on.
that's a
It was
classic, dude.
pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. He's like a detective. It's a whodunit. It's funny. It was fun.
yeah,
That's
That's
it.
all I got to say about that.
yeah. This is gonna upset them
Don't
probably.
do it, dude.
I've upset them a lot with this, but I just
What
can't.
is it gonna be?
I've been watching the Minecraft movie too much this year, but I've been watching the version they put out before it came out, where the green screen is like effed up. They play
No
different
way.
songs, and I finally watched the theatrical version, and not as good as the scary sketchy version, but I
I
loved it.
hate
I
I
loved
hate
it,
this
and
segment.
I
I hate
loved it.
this
And
segment.
if you haven't seen Minecraft, like I didn't even play the video game,
I
but
hate this segment.
it's great. I think it's everyone should go see it and join the phenomena of the chicken jockey for sure.
Zamir, before we let it go, have you seen any movies lately, Zamir?
Yeah.
um, yeah, I recently saw like a few weeks ago. I saw the new movie Sinners,
Hell yeah, yeah.
and I was like, wow, okay. First of all, I am not a horror movie fan.
Mhm.
I'm not a thriller person. I'm a very scary person. Look, I don't do all that.
Yeah.
But the story, but I will say storyline wise,
Mhm.
great. Like not to spoil a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Like, Smoke and Stack,
Mhm.
Mr. Michael B. Jordan,
Yeah.
these
Then
are everyone on
the
that.
the guy who played Preacher Boy too is fucking awesome. Like,
Bro, the scene with that,
yeah.
bro, the house burning down.
Mhm. Bro, the music was nuts. It
Oh,
was so good. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard all good things about it
Yeah,
from.
you guys should check that out. Yeah.
Yeah, I really want to see it.
I got it downloaded. Don't you worry.
Yeah,
I'm getting ready.
all ready for it.
Yeah.
yeah, I'll just watch Minecraft 6 times out of the 7 days.
No,
So
no,
I'll
no.
fit it in for a
Yeah,
day.
you'll have one
Yeah,
day.
I'll fit it on maybe on a Wednesday night or something
Mhm.
when I'm Minecrafted out, you know.
Yeah.
But
On a free evening.
yeah. A free evening, yeah, when I'm not Minecrafting up or trying to watch every single wrestling show that week,
Yeah.
until
That's
my eyes bleed.
a
But
lot.
Well, yeah, thank you for coming on.
You know,
yeah,
you should plug your social medias too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get the social media plugs so all the fans out there that they can check your workout and follow you.
Absolutely. On Instagram and on X, it's Zamir Zuriel with two L's. So ZAMIRZURIELL on Instagram and on X or Twitter. And you can find me on YouTube. I have a lot of matches on there that you all can go watch and enjoy. I pray that y'all enjoy it as well.
Yeah, and you'll be able to see the move of the day, which so far out of since you've been posting that, they've all been just fucking next level moves. Awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. Um, but yeah, dude, thank you so much for coming on. Of course, we'd love to have you on again in the future and
I would love
catch
to.
up to see where you're at that point. And yeah, keep on keeping on because you've been killing it, man. And I'm gonna try to make it for sure to that Ashe event or one of your indie events because yeah, I definitely want to see you live for sure.
Absolutely. I'm gonna keep all of y'all posted, everybody posted on every event that I have. And thank y'all so much for having me. This was fun. This
Yeah,
is
of course.
Yeah.
a lot more chill
Thank
than I
you.
expected. Thank you.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
That's
Heck yeah. Invasion angle.
Invasion angle.
Bet you love that sweet ass podcast. I am John Cena and I approve this message. Boobies.